What's up, everybody, and welcome back to After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce, and today we have another movie review. In fact, it is the final installment of the Fear Street trilogy that I have been watching over the last few weeks. And if you'd like to know what I thought of this last installment, let's go. Okay, so like I said at the top, this is the last installment of the Fear Street trilogy of horror films based on the R.L. Stine a young adult fiction series of the same name. I think there's something like 17 books if you were interested in checking out the R.L. Stine series of books that this is based on. These films were exclusive to Netflix, and once again, we have Lee Janiak directing, but this time she transports us to the year where it all began, 1666. Now, if you stumbled upon this review first, I'm going to put an info card somewhere right here so you can access my reviews for the first two movies. So like we said, Lee Janiak is the director. She also is a writer along with Phil Graziati. This movie, released on July 16th, 2021, has a runtime of 1 hour and 52 minutes, pretty consistent across all three movies. Of course, I'm going to give my thoughts on this movie in a spoiler-free fashion, but if you would ever like to have an in-depth discussion on any film I review, including this trilogy, please just leave a comment, and I will be glad to host a spoiler-filled live stream just for you. So please subscribe for more reviews and more entertainment news. In 1666, a good old-fashioned witch hunt that has deadly consequences for centuries to come grips a colonial town, while teenagers in 1994 try to put an end to their town's curse before it's too late. In the first half of this film, we find ourselves, along with Deena, in the year 1666. And here we learn that the towns of Shadyside and Sunnyvale together were once called Union. Deena is playing the part of Sarah Fier, so she was transported into the body of the legendary witch of Shadyside. But anyway, she's playing the part of Sarah Fier, and all the characters that we've met along the way over the last two Fear Street installments play different roles here as well. And this time, we really learn exactly what the fuck is going on with all these people. Of course, there were similarities to the first two movies, to past horror films that kind of shaped generations, and this one is no different. It seems that Janiak is once again channeling a horror film. This time it's 2016's The Witch. So in this 1666 setting, that was hard to say, we get a glimpse of the period, like that 17th century period, replete with costumes, dialects, and scenery. So points for Janiak again. She went as far in as we could expect with setting that atmosphere, with taking us to Union and putting us in this place. So after the young folks have the 17th century version of a rave, something evil descends over Union. This is the genesis of the centuries old hex that is placed on Shadyside. Remembering Shadyside was the town where nothing good seemed to come out of it, whereas Sunnyvale was nothing but unicorns and butterflies and cute babies and all of that. Everything good in Sunnyvale, nothing good in Shadyside. Anywho, so we get an answer in this movie to who was behind it all in the first place. And we get that answer in the first half of the movie. The second half is where we're going to put knowledge into practice, because this ragtag crew of good guys are going to put an end to the woes that plague Shadyside. So the only question is, How will they do it? Now this is where things went a little Scooby-Doo for me, but I was okay with it. It went Scooby-Doo, but I was here for it. The return of Martin, the mall security guard, was absolutely fantastic. It was just what this segment of the movie needed, and I did not know how much I needed Martin to be a part of these festivities. But I am so glad that he showed up in 1666. He is definitely all of us when he saw what was going on. Specifically, he was all of us when he saw a bound Sam writhing and foaming at the mouth all on the floor, and his first thought was, "We tied up a white girl," and that's what I would have thought. How? Why do we have this white girl tied up? But anyway, a big showdown happens at the place where it all started, and then we get all the monsters, all of them together, and they are ready to slay all day, and not in a good way. This final installment wraps things up quite nicely. I still think the middle movie is the best out of the three, but this one was not a letdown. We got answers to most of our questions. Most, not all. I'm not sure we have anything left to make any further installments or sequels, because these hanging questions that I have, they're not even big enough to shape a whole film around. Because the end was satisfying despite my lingering questions, on a scale from 1 to 5, I'll give this one a 3.5 once again. In fact, the entire series will earn a 3.5 rating from me. But just for shits and giggles, I'm going to share what the critics and the audience over at Rotten Tomatoes thought of this Fear Street trilogy. For 1994, the critics gave it an 83. The audience was not as nice. The audience thought 63. And as I said, when I first reviewed it, and if you go back to watch that review, you'll see that I even felt a little bit of some type of way about the first movie. And then we got to 1978, where the critics gave it an 88 and the audience gave it an 81. And again, I am in agreement with the audience on this, because number 2 was a significant step up. The kill count got higher. So number 2 was just a step up from the first installment, 1994. And finally, the 1666 received an 89 from the critics and a 77 from the audience. And again, even though I say that the second movie was better to me than this third installment, I am I'm kind of in agreement with what the audience and the critics had to say. Of course, the critics rated 1666 the highest of the three. I still think 1978 was more, I guess it just, because of the nature of the kills in 1978, the way that it was executed, no pun intended. I think I enjoyed that one more, and I will be more in agreement with the audience. Of course, altogether, I still think 3.5 is a solid entry for Fear Street, the trilogy. And I want to know what you guys think. Have you watched the Fear Street trilogy? And if so, what did you think? What was your favorite installment of the three? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, please, please, please leave a like and subscribe with your notifications turned on so you won't miss an upload. And as always, I would like to say thank you to my patrons first and foremost. And I'm going to put them here with the fancy music. And you can become a patron by visiting patreon.com/Tasha Pierce and selecting a tier. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I got a ton of October movies to review for you, and I appreciate you for continuing to hang out with me. Keep your eyes open for the next review, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.